Hi, my name is Tiana Ike, and I studied dogs' reactions to novel objects. Many people in today's world own dogs, and they've become a big part of human existence, which is why I decided to study an aspect of their behavior. So just a little background information. There have been a couple of studies done that show that dogs behave in a generally neophilic manner. Neophilia is the preference for novelty. Neophilic animals like newness, and they generally respond to new objects quickly, and they're quick to investigate the objects. Wolves, on the other hand, generally show neophobic tendencies, meaning that they are fearful of new objects and they dislike new things, so they try to avoid the new objects, or they're slow to approach the objects. This is important because this neophilic behavior may have possibly assisted in the domestication of dogs. As I stated before, there are a couple of studies that were done to observe neophilia in dogs. However, there is little research on this topic, which is why I decided to do an experiment on neophilia in dogs. For my study, I observed dogs' reactions when subjected to an unfamiliar object. So the participants were domestic dogs. There were 25 dogs total, and there were various demographics of the dogs present in the study. So 11 of the dogs were female and 14 were male. The ages of the dogs ranged from 4 months old to 13 years old. There were also many different breeds used in this study. So there were Dachshunds, there were Red Heelers, Corgis, even a Bernese Mountain Dog. So in turn, there were a variety of different weights used in the study of the dogs. So it ranged from 5 pounds to 82 pounds. 12 of the dogs were of mixed breeds, and 13 were purebred dogs. Also, something to note here is that only 7 of the dogs, of the 25 dogs used in this study, were not neutered. Each dog was introduced to the novel object individually rather than in a group. The novel object was a clear plastic water bottle that was emptied of water. The water bottle had 2 holes cut in the top of it, and it was filled with dog kibble. The purpose of the 2 holes at the top was that so if the dogs sniffed the object, they could possibly tell that there was food inside, and this would maybe pique their interest. Also, if the dogs were to knock the object over, the dog kibble could possibly fall out. So that would be kind of their reward. For the experiment, the dogs were isolated in the bathroom of their home. The reason I chose to use the bathroom as the experimental area is because there were some cases where I was not the one doing the experiments on the dogs, and the owners took the novel object and the protocol and observed the dogs in their own home. So the bathroom is a generally standard room of the home, and it is small enough that it doesn't usually take too long to clear the floor of objects. So to begin the experiment, the bathroom floor was cleared of all objects. The novel object, the water bottle, was set in the middle of the floor before the dog was brought into the bathroom, so that the dog did not see the human placing the object on the floor. And then equipment was set up so that the dog could be observed via live video. The way that I did this was by setting a tablet up in the bathroom in a way that I could see every area of the bathroom in which the dog had access to. And then that tablet video called another tablet outside of the bathroom, which created the live video. The dog was left in the bathroom for 5 minutes total, and the observation protocol was filled out by the observer. So the observation protocol was asked various different questions about the demographics, but then it also broke the 5 minutes down into 30-second intervals, and the observer marked down which interactions the dog participated in with the novel object in each 30-second interval. These observations showed that dogs do behave in a neophilic manner when presented with a novel object. So as you can see from this graph of the initial responses to the novel object, a majority of the dogs responded to the object initially by sniffing it. There are quite a few that did respond to the object by ignoring it. However, 72% of the dogs did acknowledge the object within the first 30 seconds, which does support this neophilic behavior. Now, looking at the percentage of total interaction time spent in each category, a majority of the time was spent ignoring the object, which may lead people to believe that this does not support a neophilic behavior. However, what's really important here is that a majority of the dogs, 72%, responded initially or acknowledged the object within the first 30 seconds of the observation. These results do show that in general dogs did behave in a neophilic manner. However, I wanted to see if different characteristics of the dogs affected the time that it took them to interact with the object. So these are graphs of the minutes until the dogs interacted with the object as a factor of weight. And as you can see, the time until the dog inspected the object does not appear to be influenced at all by the dog's weight. There is possibly a weak positive correlation between the minutes until the dog touched the object and the weight of the dog. However, there are some dogs between the weight of 40 to 50 pounds that did touch the object very quickly. So if there is a correlation at all, it is very weak. And then plotting the minutes until interaction as a factor of sex showed that the minutes until the dog inspected the object was not really influenced by the sex. However, females were quicker to touch the object than the males, so this does show a slight difference. And then I also wanted to see if mixed breed dogs had different response times than purebred dogs. So as you can see here, mixed breed dogs were quicker to inspect the object than purebred dogs or purebred dogs. And then purebred dogs were quicker to touch the object than mixed breed dogs. So again, there is another slight difference in the response times. I also thought that the age of the dog would have an effect on the response time of the dogs. However, the results show that neither the minutes until the dog inspected the object or touched the object was really influenced by the dog's age. So in general, the dogs acted in the same neophilic manner. Some of the demographics had a small influence on the reactions to the objects, but the majority of the dogs behaved in the same way. So regardless of the breed, age, or weight, the dogs appeared to react in the same way. They were quick to approach the object and acknowledge it in some way, sniffing it, biting it, even just looking at the object. However, they did spend little overall time investigating the object. This difference between dogs and wolves could possibly be because of the stability of food sources. So dogs have a fairly stable food source. They generally know that they're going to be fed at a specific time every day. They don't have to go look for their own food, whereas wolves have to go look for their own food. So wolves are fearful of new objects, and it does take them a little longer to approach the object. However, they do spend, studies have shown that they do spend more time investigating the object, which could be because they are evaluating the object to see if it is a suitable food source. So there were some shortcomings of this study. As I stated before, only 7 of the dogs were not neutered, so I was not able to determine whether neuter status did have an effect on the time until the dog inspected or touched the object. Each dog was only we only did one trial on each dog, and some of the studies that I referenced for my paper did multiple trials for each dog. So if I had done this, it might have possibly swayed the results a little bit. And then the amount of time observed was only 5 minutes, so it may have been too short. There was an instance where one of the dogs, responded to the novel object by sniffing it and then just didn't really pay much attention to it after that until very close to the end. She started knocking the object over and really interacting with it, but at her 5 minutes, we did have to let her out of the bathroom because her trial was over. So if I had possibly observed the dogs for a longer period of time, it may have had a difference on the results. So why is this important? This is important, or the evolutionary importance of neophilia is that it may have assisted in the domestication of dogs. So as I stated before, wolves generally behave in a neophobic manner. They're fearful of new objects. The hypothesis for the domestication of dogs says that possibly a small subgroup of the neophobic dogs left the pack, gradually started developing more neophilic tendencies, which allowed them to come into closer contact with human beings, and gradually may have led to the domestication of dogs. So although this may seem, neophilia and neophobia may seem like a small part of animal behavior, it does have the ability to assist in macroevolutionary events such as domestication of dogs. There are many people that assisted me in the research of this topic and in the review of this paper whom I would like to thank. So I want to thank Dr. Lanier for her feedback and helping me create the R code for analyzing my data. I want to thank my family and friends for helping me create the novel objects and assisting me with some of my experiments. I also want to thank my classmates for the feedback that I received from my peer reviews. Finally, I want to thank all of the dog owners who allowed me to use their dogs for this study. I want to thank you all for being here, and I will now accept questions.